Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. Hi friends, how are you today? My name is T. My job is spilling the tea on all things true crime. So if you're interested in true crime, I would highly suggest you hit that subscribe button because I'm here for you almost every day. But enough of my jibber jabber, let me get started. And by the way, if you like the video, do me a favor, smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. Now let's dig in. Sebastian Rogers' father, Seth, moved from California to Tennessee back in October of 2020. He made the move after agreeing to let his ex-wife Katie Proudfoot take their son Sebastian to live in Tennessee. It wasn't easy for Seth to make this move. After his contentious divorce with Katie, Katie had accused Seth of a lot of bad behavior, particularly in regard to how he treated Sebastian. In short, Katie accused Seth of hitting Sebastian in the head, the neck, and the back, taking his anger out on Sebastian, of grabbing Sebastian with both hands and lifting his entire body up, only to slam it back down. Katie also stated that Seth used a belt on Sebastian, which seems ironic in light of what her current husband did to Sebastian. Chris Proudfoot has admitted to using a belt on his stepson. And there's more accusations of leaving Sebastian alone for long periods without telling him where he was going. Accusations of Seth walking around the living room without any clothing in front of Sebastian. Katie also claimed that Seth said to Sebastian that mommy and daddy's separation was because mommy didn't want to love daddy anymore. Katie also stated that Seth made teachers at Sebastian's school uncomfortable and that Seth hit Sebastian in the head, knowing that the child suffers from fluid on his brain. Per Katie, she took a restraining order to Sebastian's school at some point, and that's when she found out the school had contacted CPS a week earlier. I'm not going to repeat all the stuff Katie accused Seth of, because I don't believe Seth had anything to do with his son's disappearance. But what I am saying is, it was very hard for Seth to establish a life in Tennessee after all these accusations, but he did that to be in his son's life. Seth loves his little boy, even if there may be behaviors in his past that don't paint him out to be the perfect dad. We know nobody is perfect. I'm mentioning this stuff only because I do think it highlights the bad blood between Seth and Katie, as well as the perhaps chaotic family life Sebastian experienced from early on. I fear that Sebastian was used to family drama despite his young age. I have to believe he was aware of his parents' battles against each other. I also have to believe Sebastian experienced his stepfather Chris's temper, the explosive temper we witnessed when he showed up on Websleuths live panel. If Chris Proudfoot couldn't keep his anger in check during that online conversation, how are we to believe that he spoke to Sebastian differently when he was upset with Sebastian? I mean, I have a hard time picturing Chris Proudfoot speaking to Sebastian in a gentle, kind voice, or that he could stop talking himself at times to allow Sebastian to speak and express himself freely. Was Sebastian used to loud voices? Was home a sanctuary or a miserable cage? One of the private eyes Seth Rogers hired said it would be very helpful to speak to Katie about Sebastian's mood and demeanor on the Sunday before he went missing. The PI made it sound like she'd spoken to locals who interacted with Sebastian that day, and perhaps saw an unhappy, sad child, or a riled-up, angry one. And when we factor in a Child Protective Services call to the Proudfoot home 1 to 2 months before before Sebastian disappeared, along with the fact that Chris and Katie had arranged with Seth to have Sebastian live with him. Seth had told Sebastian that he would be moving to an online school situation. Sebastian's world begins to look like a stressful place for a little boy navigating his parents' divorce, his stepfather with a loud, abrasive nature, his autism, which may have made it difficult to find a ton of friends at school. Middle school and high school aren't always the nicest places for kids who don't blend in or who aren't embraced by the popular crowd. Maybe Sebastian did want out of his mother and stepfather's house, and maybe the thought of living with Dad wasn't good either because of the prospect of online learning, no in-person interactions with teachers or other kids. As I'm saying this, I can't help reflect on Madeline Soto, who wrote that when she was 13, she was going to go live in the woods. Knowing what we know now about her life, it's easy to see why she would want to go escape to the woods. Tragically, she was only 13 for a few days before she lost her life. She didn't have long enough to escape to the woods. Maybe Sebastian wanted to escape. It's a possibility, but personally, I still feel that Sebastian didn't bring about whatever made him go poof in the night. I don't see this little kid sneaking out of the house barefoot with a flashlight on his own, staying in a warm, safe bed after what had to have been an exhausting day for him that Sunday seems so much more logical. Yes, I know Chris Proudfoot has said that Sebastian had trouble sleeping, but I mean, the list of activities they did that Sunday had to have left him very tired, to the point of exhaustion where you would fall into bed and go to sleep immediately. By the way, when I heard Chris Proudfoot talking about how dark it is in their neighborhood and how there are no street lights, and that Sebastian was supposedly wearing long black pants and a long sleeve black top, it almost makes it sound like he was dressed to be a burglar. It's almost too convenient. Is this something that is made up so that we will believe that it was so dark and Sebastian was wearing dark clothes, and this is why he was not picked up by Ring cameras? I mean, it doesn't sound very comfortable going to bed in long black track pants and a long sleeve black shirt. This is one of the details in the case that has never felt right to me. It just doesn't ring true. I'm sure you all know by now that a photo is circulating that shows a lanky young boy who looks a whole lot like Sebastian in North Carolina. Some people are speculating that the blonde woman in the photo is Seth Rogers' sister, Sarah Swank. It's not, at least if we believe it was really Sarah Swank, who went on Facebook to deny that that's her in that photo. I've heard that both Seth and one of the PIs think that that is Sebastian. I'm not sure if that's true. I haven't heard that myself. I hope it's Sebastian. I'd love to see him come back alive and well. I'm praying for that. But then there's the realist in my mind who says Maddie Soto didn't take her backpack or her laptop from home on the morning she vanished. Stephen Stearns took those and hid them. Well, he threw them away. I don't think Sebastian left his shoes and backpack and cell phone home. I think he was unable to take his things and leave. What I want to know is, why couldn't Sebastian take those things with him wherever he went? What prevented him from grabbing his favorite things before he walked out that door? I should say before he supposedly walked out that front door and down those front porch steps. I'm sorry, but the more I hear the ugly voices between Seth and Chris Proudfoot, all the ugly happenings that were going on in their lives over the past few years, I can't help but think there are reasons why Sebastian went missing, and they're rooted in the family unit. We don't have to look elsewhere in some ways to find trouble. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories.